Hello and welcome back to the Shack with me, 2E0XSB. Today we're going to be doing the second part of my DX Commander all-band vertical build. If you do find anything within this video of any use or any help to you within your own build, or you just enjoy watching the contents, please do leave a like or even a subscribe. Okay, so I've set up a couple of sawhorses just on the driveway, and I'm going to start putting the DX Commander together now. It's a bit windy out here today, so I don't know how the audio is going to be, but bear with me and we'll make a start. Okay, so I just unscrewed the base end cap. I'm going to place the grounding plate in place and screw the top back on. Okay, so I've secured the ground plate there, ready to put the actual radiator plate over the top of that and secure that with the Jubilee clip, so hold on for a couple of minutes. Okay, so I've put the radiator plate down over the top as such, fastened that to the ground plate there via the pigtail and just put that down finger tight, and I've secured the radiator plate in place via the Jubilee clip, not over tightening that. The last thing I want to do is actually crush the tube and, well, basically ruin the aerial. Okay, so I've now positioned the second plate just up on the base, which goes onto the first actual notch of the telescopic tubing, and I've secured that once again with one of the large Jubilee clips, not over tightening that again. And I've roughly got the orientation correct so that the wires should go up and correspond, but that's just loose enough that you can give it a bit of a turn if need be. Okay, so now just attach the next Jubilee clip up as a tensioner on the pole, go up to the next plate, and once again put the Jubilee clip just to hold that in place. Okay, so I've got all the plates now on. As we come up, got our guide plate, next spreader plate, Jubilee clips all the way up there, to our last real spreader plate, more Jubilee clips, and the final plate there is in position, just to take the 30 or the 80 and the 40. So it depends on how you're actually going to set yours up, depending on whether you want 80 meters on there or 30. It's completely up to yourself. I've personally made up a 30 and an 80 due to the fact that I do like working 80, but that's just my own personal preference. Okay, so as you might have seen in the DX Commander build part 1, I did take the time to actually label each of my wires for the aerials, and hopefully that's going to make life a lot simpler as I connect them to the actual end plate and thread them through. So I'm going to make a start on that now. Join me back in a moment. Okay, quick tip here: if you've undone your wing nut like so and the washer is stuck at the bottom, best way to actually move that rather than fiddling about trying to get the spare connector underneath the end is to actually just get hold, give it a quick spin in the way of the thread, and it should give you a little gap like that you can then feed your spade underneath. So once again, I've cut 18mm of the actual shock cord, and this is how I basically attach the carabiners. So thread one end through, so they've got the closed end, that end there, and all I'm going to simply do is put in simple knot like so. Get it as close to the end as I possibly can and really tighten that up by just pulling this loose end. That is nice and tight, and that's just fallen off, but that's no biggie. Just thread that through again. Pull that down as far as it will go, and then we take a little carabiner clip, line it up with the holes. Now these do take quite a bit of pushing to get on, and I wouldn't like to try and get them off again, so only when you've got it right, put that together, push it in, and that's one end all made up. Sorry about the camera angles, I'm having to use my phone on a nasty little tripod, but hopefully you get the gist of what you need to do. So I've just connected the 30-meter element now, and according to the actual instructions themselves, that just needs the shock cord itself. So I cut 18 centimeters, that's 180 mil, and connected the little plastic carabiners. And you can still see that that is still taped rather than heat shrunk at the moment. Sorry, the focus on that's not brilliant. See if I can pull that in. Yep, so that is the 30mm connected up, and I will make that permanent with the heat shrink a little bit later on. Okay, so I've got it all knocked up now. All the elements are connected. Going through the corresponding plates, all the other bits and bobs are in piece. The only thing I don't have connected at the moment are all the radials, but as you can see, got our first connectors here, where what I've basically done is I've put slip knots on the top and bottom of the actual paracord, this section, made off as I showed you earlier. Slip knots there so I can adjust that tension if I need to. Same down here, actually it was the 12-meter, we just looked there, 12-meter. Yep, the 12-meter element there I've managed to do with just shock cord, and that's not too taut. I also got away with, on the 20-meter, making a short bungee cord. That is the element cut that has a 20 centimeter fall back, as you can see. That's the way I decided to cut my wires anyway. And going up, we get to the 30 and 40. We've got the 40 going through this eye here, the 30 connected to here via just, once again, shock cord. It's got a nice tension on it, not too tight. And if we go up, the 40 I've secured at the end with a piece of the actual, or is it aquarium piping, folded back down to one of the carabiners, then down and connected to the 30 element top end. So that is a short piece of shock cord, and I just need to tidy that up. I've done the same again, just a couple of slip knots just so I can adjust that. I'll just need to trim that up in a second, but other than that, that's the whole thing mocked up right there in the distance so you can see my chickens. So the only thing left to do is to actually get the radials attached, put this up and test it out. Okay, as you can see, I've still got plenty of the paracord left over, which is to actually make up the guying ropes. But what I want to show you very quickly is how I measured up and tied off the bungee end to the paracord, just to make up those tensioning bands. First up, what I did was I attached the carabiner to one end, like so, of the bungee cord. I then got both pieces, just got them to being just under tension, and literally tie off your bungee end first so that it's nice and short, just like that, so it tightens up around your paracord. Then the paracord end, making sure I've got plenty left, give yourself around about 1 inch or 2 where you can just make that off like so, tension that up so that if you do need to get any more tension on that, you can slide those up and down. And to smarten up the ends there, just give them a quick slice, smarten that up a bit more. All you need to do is take a lighter and just gently singe the end so that that doesn't fray away. Obviously leave that a few seconds before you touch it, you don't want to burn your fingers. But basically that's how I've made up my lengths for the elements to the paracord and bungee cord. It was a part in the instructions I thought was a little bit lacking personally, but then again I'm much more of a visual thinker. So for me, a picture speaks 1,000 words. Now, as you might have seen just then, one of the other little things that I have done is I've printed out little labels. So that's my 20-meter tensioning cord, and just wrapped it around the end of the carabiner. That way it'll be much quicker set up next time rather than guessing at to which one is to which point of the actual attaching to the element and such. So just a little tip that I think might be worth mentioning. Okay, so I did use quite a bit of extra paracord and such. Every one of the bungee cord lengths was cut to 18 centimetres or 180 mil, which is about 7 inches in old money. That way I could cut 6 for use on all of the 6 different bands. It worked out perfectly for myself. The paracord, I've still got tons of that left. And also I've got a box full of bits here with extra crimps and such, which if you want to make up any extra radials that might help with your efficiency, then yep, there's plenty left in the box, which I must admit when I was fixing aircraft back in the day, it used to be a bit of a scary sight to actually see extra bits left over. But it's brilliant the fact that you're left with plenty of pieces left at the end of the build for any mistakes that you do make, because let's face it, a man who hasn't made a mistake hasn't made anything. That's what I was told as an apprentice, and it's something I've always lived by. But that brings us to the end of the part 2 now. I hope you'll join me for part 3, when I'm actually going to put it up in a field, test it out with a radio, test it out with an antenna analyzer, and see what modifications need doing in that time. I'm sorry I couldn't fit that all in this video, but I don't want to be selling you short on seeing on any modifications that I do have to make on the element lengths. As I've said at the beginning, I want to do this exactly to the book, to Callum's own instructions, and give you a good idea of exactly what's needed to build a DX Commander. Until then, I hope to see you in the next video, but it's good night from me, 2E0XSB.